Hi, I'm Nate Flax.
I'm Noah Longworth McGuire.
And this is Talking Lion.
Talking Lion is a podcast focused on artist-to-artist conversations.
We're primarily artists, a duo called Sleeping Lion. And throughout our career as songwriters and producers, we've had the opportunity to work with so many incredible rising artists.
Talking Lion is about hitting record on the conversations we've had with our musical friends and collaborators to get a glimpse into what their life's been like and where it's going.
A few reminders before we start.
Firstly, we now have a Patreon for fans of the show to show their support and help keep the show going.
As a Patreon subscriber, not only will you earn rewards, but you'll also gain exclusive access to a chat room in our Discord server.
Here you can talk with us and even suggest questions for our guests.
Go to patreon.com/talkinglion to subscribe.
We appreciate your support.
As we mentioned, we also have a Discord server that's become a sort of community hub for Sleeping Lion and Talking Lion. We're very active on there and very eager to talk to you about who you are on the show and how you feel about the new episodes, as well as just talking about life.
So yeah, come through and you can talk with us. You can make some new friends, share your art, and share your memes.
Go to sleepinglionmusic.com/discord to join our server.
We hope to see you there.
Lastly, our face is on a shirt. We have shirts now for Talking Lion with our faces on them. If you want to wear us on your shirt, buy a shirt. It helps support the show, and it shows your friends that you like Sleeping Lion and Talking Lion.
You can find these shirts on our website, sleepinglionmusic.com/store. Pro tip. Patreon supporters of the honorary Lion tier or higher will get a free shirt.
Now back to the show.
We recorded this episode with our good friend Charlie Curtis Beard.
I first saw Charlie on TikTok, and I was so impressed that I reached out to him over DM. We became internet friends for a couple months, and this is the first time we got a chance to meet in person.
Since then, we've become fast friends. We've hung out and collaborated a lot, and we even did a house show together.
With that said, this episode was recorded following the release of his EP, Rain in Pasadena.
Likewise, he had just won Sad Alex's remix contest for her song I'm Glad That You Found Someone featuring Gnash.
Quickly becoming one of our close friends, Charlie is one of the most talented, passionate, and hilarious people we know. We hope you enjoy the beginning of our friendship, and we can't wait to show you what comes of it. So,
without further ado.
Oh my! I'm Charlie Curtis Beard, and this is Talking Lion.
well, hey.
Hey.
How's it going?
Hi, guys.
I'm not gonna lie, I was like nervous today. I'm like legitimately a fan. Like I found you on TikTok, and I just everything you post is awesome.
I ain't no.
We're coming in. We're coming in.
No. It's like weird. Like a year ago today, like I didn't have any of the stuff like that I have now. In like as terms of like I guess clout goes, you know. So nobody was like saying that kind of thing to me. And like it's so weird. I feel like I'm still like I am like normal as fuck. Yeah, it's just weird to me too. Like it's weird for me to like hear that. Like I don't know. I'm like not really anybody.
Well, yeah,
and people are like, I'm nervous to like meet you, and like people say that to me now. I'm like,
I will never forget. I was at one of these like Berkeley not Grammy parties. It was just a Berkeley like music industry party, catching up with all the people we went to school with and sort of seeing what they're doing in the industry. And I was sitting on the couch, just taking a moment to myself. And some guy sits down next to me and starts talking like unprompted. Like he just starts having a conversation with me. He's like, the person, I was at the gym and I was looking at like the guy who's lifting 20 pounds and the guy who's lifting 50 pounds are like experiencing the same thing. Just they're capable of like lifting more. It's like with their like personal experience of lifting the weight, because everyone's always operating at their limit when it comes to like weightlifting. So it's like once you can lift 20 pounds easily, then you lift 30 pounds. Once you can lift 50 pounds easily, then you're just lifting 50 pounds and you're always operating at the limit. Like theoretically, you're operating in your comfort zone. I think like external success operates in a similar way, where like you're always just doing what you want to do and trying to slowly expand your career. But the weight you're carrying in your internal battle every day to get up and do the damn thing is always the same. So even if those stuff changes around you, like you're still you through all of it.
I love that quote from Men in Black too, where it's just like, what'll you know tomorrow? Like I feel like if you look back a year from now at any point in your life, the best thing you could hope for is like, I didn't know we were here. I didn't know this was going to happen like a year from now, Every time I think that I like things haven't gotten to where I wanted to go, I just think about where I'm having the problems I wish I had a year ago.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I'm having the problems I wish I would have died to have.
Yeah, literally
5 years ago.
Literally, all I wanted to be as a teenager is just to make music, and now I wake up every day and
we're
my
like,
job is
we gotta
making
make
music. And I've really been trying, especially in the last like year or so, to just like be grateful for the fact that you get to do this, because it's so cool. And every second I spend thinking it's not cool is kind of a waste of my energy. Like I'm trying to like always be thinking that it's pretty cool to be doing music all the time.
What we're trying to say is you're pretty cool.
And you're very cool. That's really the point.
I'm really grateful. Like, I was talking about this with someone earlier, how, you know, it was like New Year. And I was like, wow, 2020 really sucked, but like I've come a long way this year. And it's crazy that like we had to go through a whole pandemic in order for me to like get my social media stuff together and really advance my career. The way I see it now is just way different than I did last year. You know, last year I was trying to be the people that you guys kind of are, you know, just knowing everyone and being everywhere and like working a lot, and like that works. But you know, when a pandemic happens, you can't do that. So I was like, well, the last thing I can do is just make content every single day and make music every single day. And I'm just glad that it popped off. And now, you know, I have like the blue check,
right? No, exactly.
the hundreds of thousands of followers, the distribution, the management, all that stuff that I didn't have a year ago.
But I think also what's really cool, and I think the reason why I first like got excited about what you're doing is that, yeah, like you amassed a following, but you amassed it around similar to Alex Engelberg. Like, you know, you amassed a following just around who you are and the fact that you're good at what you do, which my sort of like, you know, Noah does TikTok more than I do. My like sort of issue in my stomach about TikTok when I was first sort of getting involved was I didn't love the kind of talent behind some of the people who had millions of followers. But now it's kind of cool because like people like you are getting those followings. And I also, you know, for what it's worth, I remember the first time we talked on the phone, I said, if this was normal times and you'd moved out to LA, you'd be playing these showcases and people would be losing their shit. Like that is the long and short of it. Like you'd be doing all the network stuff and be able to do that. So I'm glad that as like a consolation prize, at least the internet's like understanding what's up.
But, you know, I wouldn't even say it's a consolation prize. I think that there's something to be said for the fact that all of us creatives have been shut inside and really confronted with the question of how are you going to advance your career? I think that pressure has pushed a lot of people, like, you know, in various directions. Like, I'm learning to illustrate. You're learning to 3D like animate.
I made a donut.
I started going into TikTok, which it took me till December of 2020 to do, but I did, and I got a couple viral videos, and I got attention from celebrities. And it's like, wait, I could just do this from the comfort of my bedroom. Like my life could change externally without me even leaving the space that I live and work in every day. Like that's kind of an amazing realization that everyone's kind of being confronted with right now.
How did you kind of get into TikTok? And I think what's really cool about you too is that you're involved in like TikTok communities.
Yeah.
So how did you kind of like, you know, how did you first kind of get introduced to this format, and what's your kind of like mentality going into it?
So I just kind of started because, you know, I just like needed something to do, I guess. I just couldn't stand the thought of like, I don't know, not going anywhere and like not advancing my career because, you know, I'm getting older, and I was like, okay, cool, like something has to happen here. So I just decided to not only do it on Instagram because I felt like Instagram was like really hard to get followers on. So I was like, let's try out TikTok. The format was similar to Vine, and I used to be Vine famous, sort of. I had about 60,000 followers on Vine in high school. So that was fun.
Doing what you're doing now, or doing?
No, my Vines were horrible. They were terrible. Some of them were problematic too. I don't. No, they were. I was just like doing dumb skits and like, I don't know, like doing like it wasn't music based at all. And when I started TikTok, my page wasn't music based either. It was very like, okay, cool, I'm a personality. I'm Charlie. You're gonna follow me just because I'm Charlie. Then I met Alex Engelberg through TikTok. I saw one of his videos and I was like, oh, cool. Like, let me, you know, hop on this and make a beat out of it and like remix it. And then that took off. And then I was like, oh, great, I can do music on TikTok. And then I just kind of did it from there. Just started rapping more on there. And then people liked it. And then I did more and more and more. And I couldn't stop.
You just kept showing up on my For You page, like, and on my friends' For You pages. Like, it was anything that could be sort of like duetted with or like referenced, like you were on it. It was really, really cool.
Yeah, for a while there, that was like what I did. I just did raps over like what people tagged me in, which was cool, but it's not as enjoyable as like just doing what you want to on there.
Yeah.
And the app is stressful enough. It just kind of like at the point where I needed to just do what I wanted to. Yeah. I got into music TikTok just by, you know, knowing people and, you know, having their number and them inviting me to like game nights, and we all hang out. You're just in the community, just see them on the For You page, interact with them, and you have all like everyone has each other's numbers. We just, yeah.
What's up?
Well, we've hit up some people from TikTok. Like we had Ella Jane on here. We probably should have Alex Engelberg on here at some point.
You probably should. Alex
yeah.
is dope.
He's like he's influenced an entire like sector of TikTok.
He's one of the many billboards.
I'm not even telling you. I'm not even lying to you. When we all say that Alex Engelberg brought us together, it's because he did.
He did. He straight up did.
We all constantly remind him like, oh, we wouldn't all know each other if it weren't for you. He was like he was one of the first music people that were mutuals with me on TikTok.
Right. So I haven't even really talked to him. Like whenever he like likes something I say on Twitter, I'm like, I get really excited. I'm like, I'm still at the here's the fun fact, man. Like I talk incessantly, but I'm always nervous to like hit people up because like I know it's weird to hit people up sometimes. You know what I mean? Like I know it's like sometimes it's like a whole thing. And I'm not even like worried about the rejection. I'm not even worried about even looking stupid. I think I just know how to not do something.
Yeah.
Like I think I can just come up with a reason to like not do something.
Always come up with a reason to not do something.
I think that he's the most approachable person. He's very versatile in what he does. I didn't realize his talent level until like recently when he started doing like these scores over like he's
you want to know when it hit me?
Sorry, I got it.
It hit me when Alex did a video where he imitated 5 airport announcements. And I've spent a decent amount of time in airports. I don't know if I've said it on the podcast, but there was one time where I had to spend 24 hours in Denver International Airport. I have had to camp in O'Hare with a broken heart. I know JFK like the back of my own hand.
He's gonna write a song, O'Hare with a broken heart.
O'Hare has made it into many of his songs.
That
sounds like a CCB album. O'Hare with a broken heart.
Broken heart. That's great.
My shit's always like existentialism on Lakeshore Drive.
Yeah.
22 in Eden. Rain in Pasadena. It's always something somewhere. Sorry.
The tortoise in O'Hare.
The tortoise in O'Hare.
That's your next record.
God damn.
No, but when he got to the Denver International Airport with the little piano riff, I lost my shit. I couldn't even like express it to anybody around me because nobody in my house had been to Denver International Airport and had such an intimate relationship with hearing this specific jingle. But Alex, if you're listening, I was losing my shit. And that was when I knew he was a talented motherfucker.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I could talk about Alex for hours. I
think we're threatening to at this point.
The Alex appreciation hour.
This whole Charlie Curtis beard
episode
is actually Alex.
It's an oral history of Alex.
We'll have to balance it out by talking about you more when we interview Alex.
Yeah, that's how we're gonna do it. Yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah. But we're gonna time travel a little bit before TikTok, before anything. You were born.
Nice. Tell us about that.
Somewhere.
How was that for you?
Yeah, like what's existent? What was the sort of early understanding of existence like? Well, you're from Nebraska.
Yeah, I am. I'm from Nebraska.
Whereabouts in Nebraska?
I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska.
Oh shit! Okay, so like
family of 6.
That's the capital, right?
Yeah,
I'll do it.
I'm the youngest of 6.
Youngest? How's your oldest sibling?
Excuse me, I'm gonna have to burp here in a second.
Go for it.
Nice.
I'm keeping that in. That's actually a really good burp.
Yeah, you can use it for like sound effects or whatever.
That's a whole synth.
I will.
Amazing.
I will do that.
I will.
We are sampling the Charlie Curtis burp, the CCB.
The CCB. the best thing ever is like taking the beard and switching it out with like different names. Like it's the best. Anyways,
well, if you ever want to get into like brewing, you could do Charlie Curtis beer.
Yeah, exactly. Or if I get famous enough, making a beard moisturizing like
a beard
company,
oil?
Yeah, like a beard oil,
Charlie Curtis
beard oil, yeah. Or
if
Charlie Curtis beard.
If you ever opened a film production company that made exclusively horror movies, you'd be Charlie Curtis Fear.
Okay. Yeah.
Making a making a romance movie that makes you cry. Charlie Curtis Tear.
That's good.
Ooh, Shakespeare in the Park with Charlie Curtis Beard. Charlie Curtis King Lear.
Nice. Open up a steakhouse, call it Charlie Curtis Steers.
I thought it was Charlie Curtis Sear.
That's pretty good too.
Have a pop-up shop where people are loitering. Charlie Curtis Lear.
Ooh,
that's good. It's you, but doing a Ted Danson impersonation in a Boston bar. It's Carly Curtis Cheers.
Try one more time.
Well, Charlie Curtis Cheers.
There.
That's good. That's
Cheers.
I respect that.
It's Charlie Curtis Beard, but just acting like himself. Charlie Curtis Weird.
Nice.
Ooh.
Nice.
Is that all?
Well, I'm just really grateful that you're one of our Charlie Curtis peers.
Nice.
Somebody buys a pet that looks like Bambi, but names it after me. Charlie Curtis Deer.
Yeah, that's great.
There we go.
I didn't want to say deer. Anyways, okay, cool.
Well, if anybody's getting sick of this, I promise you that we're Charlie Curtis near the end. So,
damn it, these are so good. All right, okay. You had the Charlie Curtis sheer audacity.
Well done. You get the last word on this.
Are you done, Noah?
I'm done. Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's move on.
Let's Charlie Curtis veer into another topic, which is how old is your oldest sibling?
We're all 1 year apart.
Oh, interesting. That's awesome. Huh. So what was it like growing up in Nebraska? I don't know anything about Nebraska except for that they made a movie called Nebraska. And I don't even know what happened in that movie.
Neither do I. Not much. And that's how my early life was. Not much. You know, I just like I was raised in a church, so I never really like thought that I could do music as a career because I thought my parents would like disapprove, and they wouldn't be supportive of it, you know. So I feel like me and my whole family were really musical and like artsy, but you know, being extremely like Christian, you know, we wouldn't know how our parents would react to it, like, you know, me doing like a rap career or something like that. I didn't even know I wanted to rap at the time. I just like wanted to do something like with music. It was always in front of me. Like,
are your other siblings in a creative path?
We're all like artsy in our own way. One of them does film stuff. Another one of them is a musician. I'll send you his he makes good music. And then one of them went to a culinary school. Is doing events and stuff. Awesome. You could argue that's artsy.
Yeah,
I would argue that it's culinary arts.
Yeah. So yeah, a fair amount of us, yes. But yeah, I mean, growing up, just kind of wasn't motivated to do anything, you know, just kind of like how it was, because I just didn't like, I realized now that it was because I didn't want to do anything other than music. But back then I just kind of wasn't like, I didn't try hard at school. I was just naturally good at some things. So like, I didn't really put an effort to be better. Like I wasn't like that great of a student. I got like B's and C's, I guess. But yeah, the things that I shined in most was like poetry. You know, I did slam poetry.
Oh, that's awesome.
I did Louder Than a Bomb. My school won Louder Than a Bomb. You know Louder Than a Bomb, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, go. Yeah, you're in Chicago.
I grew up in New York. I would go to the open mic, like the poetry open mics in the Village when I was a kid. I was very into slam poetry growing up. Yeah.
Yeah. So we did. We had this chapter of Louder Than a Bomb in Nebraska. That was like also based around all the surrounding states. So it was a good amount of schools that would join in, and my school was in it, and we won like 2 years in a row.
That's awesome.
And I won the individual championship. So I just knew I wanted to write. I loved writing. I always did. I never like really realized it, but I always loved writing all the time, you know?
Well, one of the things I texted you when we first started talking is you're a meter freak. Like, and I think you get you really get like into like, there are songwriters and rappers who don't even understand how like into the weeds you can get on like about meter. And I feel like I'm not surprised you do slam poetry, because to do slam poetry well, you got to really get into the meat and potatoes of like meter stuff. So that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, slam poetry, you don't really have to have a rhythm, which was nice and freeing. Like, right. I'm like never having to fit anything within like a certain amount of beats. Yeah, feels really good sometimes. Like that writing is awesome, because you could say what you wanted to say, like exactly how you.
Yeah, you say different things.
Yeah,
I still write a whole lot of slam poetry specifically because I don't want to have to fit it into a song structure. Yeah.
And that could be rough about songwriting. But yeah, I think, I wasn't like around too many other artsy people and stuff like that. I was Vine famous for a little bit in high school, which is hilarious. But everybody at my school really hated on me for Vine. I'm not even playing. All my friends really didn't like it. And I was obnoxious, of course. I was like, do a Vine with me. Do a Vine with me.
Right.
Forcing people to do Vines.
But did you know Gabe on Vine?
Yeah, I did.
So I went to school with him. I went to high school with him.
Nice.
So similar experience. Like he was bullied like crazy at our school. But then he had this whole sort of other life of people really loving his content on the internet. So
now he's the one on TikTok that he's like, I know you've been up for a long time.
Too long, yeah.
I didn't even know that was his, I didn't even know that was his thing. But like, yeah, he like I had sort of mentioned it. He was like one of my first friends out of here because we went to high school together. And it's so funny. Like
it's hilarious.
I had
you
no
just
idea.
open up TikTok and he's like,
He's there,
you've been scrolling for a long time.
He is the perfect person for that job.
And
though.
everybody like goes on his page and is like, Gabe, looks like you've been scrolling for a while. Take a break.
He's
so funny.
He's a good guy. I think that the thing I'm like he went through hell in high school to have like a good life now, and I think that's just like the long and short of it.
I got a lot of hate for doing that, and there were some friends that would do it with me often. They liked it, but a lot of the closer friends I had like hated it. Like legit told me like it's stupid, and I was like, great.
I went through that period. I didn't have a particularly. I was at the peak of my pseudo intellectual, like annoying, contrarian, rebellious kind of thing in high school, where I was just like, ooh, like Vine, like that's dumb. That's for stupid people. Like I just didn't. I wrote it off completely without giving it any kind of consideration.
And it's kind of crazy how people do that. Like,
yeah,
it's insane to me how I didn't realize that social media is a whole world of possibility if you just open yourself up to it.
Exactly.
And I didn't realize that until a year ago. It's so stupid. Like I'm so mad at myself. I wish I could have spent all this time like in college doing the stuff I'm doing now, because I would have been so much more farther along,
Like I said, I get overwhelmed by things really, really easily. So when I was in high school and Vine comes out, I'm like, oh, well, those are for middle schoolers. And, I'm in my 20s now, and TikTok happens. I'm like, oh, those are for high schoolers. But it's not. I mean, everything is for everybody. And I'm missing out because I can talk myself out of anything.
Exactly.
But if you don't mind me asking, like Nebraska does lean right. Did you also growing up experience like shitty racist kids?
Sometimes, yeah. I don't know. Lincoln was pretty liberal, obviously, because it's the only like one of the only two cities that are relevant.
Right.
So like all the people who live there are like pretty open-minded. But yeah, you have a lot of people that are closed-minded. I grew up, and just because I was like religious didn't mean that I leaned right. I was I was liberal but also religious at the same time.
That makes more sense to me than like a religious person leaning right, because I feel like what I know of Christianity leans towards be good to people and like take care of the poor and like all that stuff.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother
conversation. But yeah, I mean, there's stories I have. Like one time I got fired from Taco Bell because someone called me the N-word, like one of the employees that are like one of my coworkers, and I fought him because I was like 17. And then I got fired. He got fired, but then he got hired back because his mom was the manager. And I didn't get hired back. So I mean, whatever. Better. I don't care about working at Taco Bell.
That's like discrimination with extra steps.
It is. It was weird, but yeah. I mean, we've all. Well, I guess not we've all, but I've experienced that. Yes, it just happens, that's just a part of being like in any kind of red state, I guess. But, nothing super, crazy to the point where, it was like, I don't know. I guess I'm trying to say that I didn't have it as bad as like some other people have had it, There's been time where police have like been extra like, aggressive with me, but I was also being like stupid. But like also I don't know if it's because I was black. I never really thought of it when I was younger. That stuff never really hit my head. I was like kind of far removed from it. But the biggest thing about it was that I never felt in touch with my culture fully. You know, like my family, all black, and like, yeah, I could celebrate and do like my stuff with them. And like, that was black culture, like just growing up black is black culture. Because you experience things that a lot of black people also experience, especially my parents being from the South, right? Yeah, but like outside of that, I didn't have many black friends. I didn't have like many, I didn't go to like any parties. Like I didn't go to any like social gatherings with all black people. Like that didn't happen until I went to Chicago. So I was like, the thing I experienced most was just like being removed from my culture a little bit. I can't even give you a good answer because I wasn't really, focused on racial or political issues as a high schooler. I didn't really think about that stuff until I got older. So I can't remember what it was really like. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I've experienced racism and just like didn't even realize it or like have forgotten about it.
Right.
And that might be how common it is. And I just thought, oh, like that's life. You
well,
know,
it's like there's that David Foster. Well, it's not a quote, but it's like the "This Is Water" thing of David Foster Wallace. That like a lot of people aren't even aware of like the most obvious stuff around them. Like I was saying before we started this, I didn't realize like I had grown up in a town that had been sued by the Obama administration for being segregated. Like I didn't know that because it was just the town I grew up in.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't get me started.
Oh, don't get you started.
Don't get me started.
This guy grew up in Africa. Like,
I grew up as a little kid in a post kind of colonial, like ex-colony, like British colony, independent country ruled by a military dictator who was reclaiming land that was stolen by colonial settlers in some sense. So when I was a kid, but all I knew as a kid was, all that was filtered down and explained to me is like, oh, well, they're coming, the people with guns, they're coming onto white people's farms and taking them away from the white people. And I was like, that doesn't seem like a good thing. And my parents had to be like, well, it's a little bit more complicated than that because it's just a long history of colonialism and racism. And I was like, but what, like, just my little 7-year-old brain couldn't process hundreds of years of colonial history and why certain people with guns were taking people's lands away.
Right.
And I was just like, okay. And like, there's all kinds of shit like that from my childhood that I'm only now processing in therapy of just like, there's so much to unpack about being an American in Southern Africa.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a couple of years to fully flesh that idea.
And I don't envy your parents or your therapist as a general.
It's a doozy.
Tell me about moving to Chicago.
That's where I finally felt like I was.
I just saw you light up.
Yeah,
I just saw your face just like
Chicago.
Oh man,
I love that city, man. I moved there because I was listening. I mean, like, okay, first, I always felt like I had a connection to Chicago, and I can't explain it. It was weird. I just always liked it. Like when I was in middle school, I was like, I want to go to Chicago. Just my best friend from childhood was from Chicago, and he was like in a really rough part of Chicago. So him and his family moved and came to Nebraska so they could live a better life, obviously. So he was like, yeah, it's all right. He's being like nice about it. But like, I was like, oh no, I love Chicago. I want to do it. So, we took my sister's a year older than me, and we took her to move into college at Kindle, which is like a culinary school in Chicago. And we took her to move in, and then I went to go visit Columbia College Chicago. And I just fell in love. I just fell in love with the city. I was like, this is so beautiful. Look, there's a gigantic lake and all these buildings, and it's like so many people that look like me and like not like white hicks and and it's awesome. And there's all these artsy people, and my school is literally right downtown, and this is so dope. And I was like, can I move tomorrow? And then I had to wait a year to move, obviously. But yeah, I loved it. I always wanted to go there. And I learned that like Chance, the rapper, was from there. And that was back in 2014. And, a year earlier, Acid Rap had dropped.
Right.
And then I learned about Vic Mensa. And I was just like, I was more obsessed with Vic Mensa than Chance. I was like, I don't know if you know Internet Tape, but I was listening to that on repeat nonstop. Over and over. And I just like, okay, I want to be a rapper like this. Like, that's when I really started falling in love with hip hop. When I was like, oh my God, underground hip hop artists are so dope. And then I just kind of like dove in even more. Before then I loved hip hop and rap, but I just like listened to kind of the mainstream stuff. But that kind of just like exposed me to a whole new world of stuff. And I was like, man, Chicago's where it's at. So I moved and I went to Columbia, and it was like such a good decision for me. I needed that. I didn't want to come to LA, which is where I am now, but I didn't want to come to LA. My initial thought process was too much competition. I realized that's naive because competition means more opportunities, but I didn't really piece that together yet. But in Chicago, I thought there'd be like the same amount of opportunities. So I was just like, cool, let's just do that. It'll be easier to rise in Chicago. So I just moved there, and it was awesome. It's like a small town, but a big city.
Yeah.
It really does feel like that. It's such a good city, and I miss it so much. I love it.
I got into hip hop because of my brother. My tastes leaned towards like folk music and film music and all that, whatever. And then event pop when we started doing this thing. My brother like just loved hip hop, and like the more underground, the better. Like he was involved in like getting JPEG Mafia to come to like Binghamton, which is like in upstate New York, you know? So my brother loved hip hop, and he got me into Chance the Rapper and all that stuff. But all the hip hop that I loved the most, I kept finding that it kept coming from Chicago.
I know. Oh my God. It's like my favorite artists, like Saba, No Name, like they're like all like just in this, like all from Chicago, all knew each other, all
Chance,
went to
Vic, like
oh my God. Man, and they all just went to YCA together and just met and like doing the same stuff that I did in high school, just going to slam poetry events and meeting folks. But I did it in Nebraska and I didn't do it in Chicago. Like that's the difference, you know?
And I like, you know, when I heard you, and I said this to you the first time we talked on the phone, like I hadn't heard anybody in LA rap like you rap, like because you don't rap like LA rap. You don't rap like you rap like Chicago rap, and it's awesome.
No, I mean, I'm like really glad that I went to Chicago because that really shaped my whole artistry today. And I really love the way I do music right now. Like I do, you know, I have trouble making it more pop, sure. But like, I really love the musicality that Chicago brought to the table.
Yeah.
You know, I was just invested, especially since I went to art school, like all these artists also just pushing me to do better. And I had to do better. I had to learn more about music theory than I ever thought I would. I had to practice more than I ever thought I would. I just became a better musician in general. And that is something I can't ever be angry about or regret.
Yeah.
That is the best thing ever. And I don't know what my life would have been like if I decided to go to LA instead. Like, would I just, you know, be a rapper who didn't even know any music theory? Like, what would it look like,
and
right?
That was one of the first things I showed you, Noah, was when you were doing literally like polyrhythmic.
Yeah, I was doing like
weird, like, 57/8 time. Like
I had to do like, I had this TikTok series where I did like raps in odd time signatures. And the one that did the best was like this prime number rap where I went from like 3/4 to 5/4.
I think that might have been the one I showed.
Yeah, I think
showed you.
3/4, 5/4, 7/4, then 11/8.
Oh my, I be doing crosswords on my live stream, starting to think that maybe people like me. Well, some of these people find me enticing, wanna take me out like I'm on strike 3. Out of my hometown to pursue the music, I think I could do this, and this is just to prove it. And I'm fly like I'm toothless, it's hard to keep losing when no one else is really doing what I'm doing. No, it's me versus the world, call me Scott, I'm a pilgrim with the odd signatures. It's a lot, this is hot, someone call on a lock, tell them drop a porter to the spirit world, cause I'm not human. This feel like beautiful loser music, this feel like the weirdest of the freaking movement. This is Vesuvius, I'm on the blow and there's nothing you can do, yeah, I'm on fire. Feeling like Orpheus when he is playing the lyre. Someone grab a choir, cause I need a witness. I'm built for the business because I'm resilient, moving steady, but I'm first to finish. Whoa!
because the reason I showed you was, here's somebody who's doing polyrhythmic, prime number based rapping, but also his internal rhyme game is the tightest shit I've ever seen.
Exactly.
And internal rhyming, this was the first thing I tweeted at you, is like, internal rhyming is the hill I want to die on. And like, which I didn't even like fully understand like internal rhyming to the degree that I could until, I'm embarrassed to say, until like Hamilton, and until like really getting into Hamilton, full stop. And then all the hip hop my brother was listening to. Like my brother was like, if you want to be a better songwriter, stop listening to what you're listening to and listen to slam poetry and listen to hip hop.
I need to say, and I don't care. I mean, I might be wrong, but this is my opinion. I think that hip hop music has some of the best songwriting like ever in any genre of music. And I can't think of any other genre of music that does it better. You can just say so much more, and like in such a stronger way to me. I don't know. I just think it. I just feel like that's the case.
Well, and I feel like a close second is mid 2000s pop punk. Like we've been going, we've been chewing on the bit of like going into like Broadway and pop punk, because I feel like anybody who's trying to get into pop music by listening to the history of pop music is getting handed half the bag. And the other half of it is understanding how all of that was influenced by really weird experimental artists, hip hop, Broadway, and pop punk. And that's just kind of like, and then everything else, like that kind of came out and wasn't pop music, but influenced the people who were making pop music.
Well, okay, so this is a bit of a tangent, but it is inspired by the thing you just said. This is something I've been thinking a lot about as we've been kind of getting into like exploring voice acting as a medium. That, part of the craft of being a pop star, quote unquote, or being a capital A artist, I think part of the journey as a vocalist is crafting your vocal tone and your vocal sound. And there's a lot of malleability in how you can affect your voice. And it can be kind of this voice acting exercise. And I think that hip hop, like some of my favorite capital A artists are like Frank Ocean and Donald Glover and Kendrick Lamar and Tyler, the Creator, because I feel like they create albums that function on the level of something like a film, that have like a really strong, like sometimes a 3-act structure. Like they're creating these narratives, these through lines in their albums, and it's a kind of storytelling that I think people aren't like that hip hop and maybe arguably like prog rock from the 70s only has access to. And I think that I think a lot about like Donald Glover's background and skills as an actor, and how he is he almost plays with character, and how Kendrick Lamar plays with character and different aspects of performance and vocal tone and inflection as storytelling devices within music. Like that's a whole artistic palette that I think people in pop have barely scratched the surface of.
Hardly. And I understand why. It's not like really, appealing to mass audiences to like put a whole,
art project.
Yeah, like play in your album, I get it, but like I think it's really cool to like artistically break down those barriers and just like make something that is like that, That's insanely cool and really awesome, I agree with that statement. Yes. Cool.
When you were in Chicago, because I mean, you more or less like kind of like launched like the Charlie Curtis Beard Artist Project in this fiscal year. But did you put out music under like a name or put out anything while you were in Chicago?
I put out music in high school, man.
Oh man, yeah. Was it under your name or was it under an alias?
It's under my name.
Can it be found?
It can, but not by you or or anybody. I'll show you some of it. It's really bad, but it is on the internet.
Music in high school. That's over here. Yeah,
it's not on like SoundCloud or something. So you'd have to like. I'd be really impressed if people found it from high school. But everything I made from college is like out. Like it's on my SoundCloud or like a lot. There's a whole project I had on SoundCloud that's called Childish, and I made that in college. That was when I was like 19 and like went through my first heartbreak, and I was like, I'm so much better with like, just like really heartbreaking music. But actually, it was really really nice. That was just me kind of exploring my sound and who I was as an artist, and like coming out the gate with something. I was never a person who just didn't make music or release it, and I was never that person. I never had like a fear of releasing music. I know it's like big with a lot of people, but I was always the one that was like, I can't wait to put this out.
Right.
Like when I make something I like, I'm like, I cannot wait for everyone to hear this. Like everyone I know to hear this, because this is dope. Like I was so excited.
In retrospect, I wish I was more afraid to put out music.
No. And I think that too, because you can see how far I've come. And that's the best part of it. I mixed my own stuff since high school. You can see, like, you can hear how terrible it sounded back then.
We feel like we had to like go through our growing pains somewhat publicly. Yeah. Which I think we have a kind of like confusing relationship with. It's definitely weird. I feel like I can't make anything without like knowing who's gonna hear it. Fair. Like I feel like I can't even start something until like I know that I can text it to 8 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, part of me wishes that we were like, we took our time a little bit and we're more sacred, but almost like hearing, it's very validating to hear you like talk about being able to see your progress with pride.
And I think also part of the maturity that we've been growing into as artists is recognizing that like when we started, we wanted to be this like cool, slick, aloof, anonymous indie pop electronic artist. And now we're just not that. And it's like, it's not that we're not cool. We're just cool
in our own way.
In our own way. We're cool because of the way we talk about pop culture. We're cool because of our humor and our influences. And the more that our brand can just be like, yeah, we're just two dudes who do like all this stuff and we make music and we love it. Like if that can be our brand, then that's something I'm more proud of. And the fact that our missteps and our weird experiments into different avenues of music are part of the history that people, as they get more invested in us, can go back and sort of follow that narrative from now like 5-6 years ago. I think that's actually a bonus. I think that's something that works in our favor.
And it's what you were saying, like when people come to your TikTok, it's like, hi, I'm Charlie, and I feel like we were so afraid for years to be like, not even afraid, but we just thought that nobody would like it if we were like, hey, we're Nate and and then
you never know. I think the internet is so vast that there's always going to be something out there for everybody. You're going to find the right people, or the right people are going to find you, I guess, more like it. But yeah, I think that it's really cool. I get to, have fans that can see my growth.
Yeah.
People who discover me now, I have a very solid discography of, that's how you say it, right? Discography of music right now. Like very solid. Is it all good? Meh. But is it something that people can listen to? Yeah. There's a lot of Charlie music out there.
Yeah.
And you never know what people are going to connect to.
Yeah.
I have a very my platform, the foundation's built. It's done. It's all done. I've been doing this for years. I'm not new to this. Right. I just started popping off, but I'm not new to this. I've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
So I built the foundation.
Yeah.
That's what I'm proud of. I'm not going to sit here. I hate sitting on music. I've always hated it. And the thing I've loved about my ambition in the past is that I've always been driven to put stuff out and make something and never ever wait till it's best or no, just do it. Just do it. We listen to 10 Day. 10 Day quality is not that good.
Yeah.
But that's not what it's about, People like it.
New artists are so hesitant to do the foundational work. And I remember being a new artist and wanting my first song to pop off, but looking back on all of our friends or all the people that we followed who popped off on their first single and didn't have the foundational work, they had to spend the next couple of years building a foundation for a rocket that's already in space. And I feel like one of the things I'm kind of grateful for looking back is that our first couple songs didn't do great, but did just well enough for us to know who our friends were, know what our situation and our collaborative relationship was, and to be able to set ourselves in a place. And I feel like you strike me as a very sort of stable artist. You know who you are as an artist and you know what you're making, and that doesn't happen in a couple days. That happens living it and breathing it for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I mean, the first stuff I put out went nowhere. Nobody listened to it. So it's been years of nobody listening to my music, Only the last couple of projects I've gotten decent attention, I guess. But yeah, I spent a very long time doing the music stuff and putting music out. So yeah, to answer your question long ago, yes, I put music out in Chicago often.
Right.
Put 2 whole projects out in Chicago. And they're not half bad. They're full length projects.
Yeah.
Too.
It's fun to listen back to the stuff you made back before the pressure of the job was there.
Yeah.
I think just to reconnect with, I made a folk record in high school. It's not great, but I listen to it whenever I need to remember what it felt like to I feel like it's a good reminder of why we started, and what kind of keeps the flames burning.
This would be a great time to talk about that conversation we had earlier, because now that shit is different.
It's so different. When you're getting paid, when you have to do a job, it's tough.
Man, and I remember, so back when I was in school was my main job.
Mm-hmm.
Just graduating and getting done with school. That was my main job. Music was my side hustle. I mean, I knew I wanted to be an artist, but I didn't make music every single day. And it'd be foolish to act like I did. I didn't. I was making music here and there. There'd be months I didn't make music in college. I'd practice and I'd be doing music, but I never made any original music. And when I did make original music, it was all on my own time. It was when I wanted to go to the studio and when I wanted to make art happen. or like when I wanted to do a project, it was when I wanted to, right? It was like, I haven't done a project in a while. Let's get something together. You know, it was all based around me and I could do it when I wanted to. I had the motivation and it was fun. Now it's just like, okay, cool. I got to do this first. I have to send this verse to this other person. Oh, I can't do that today because I have to do this advertisement. Or it's like, oh, like now I spend every single day doing music. It's like music is not my escape as it used to be.
No,
it's different now. Like music is still enjoyable and it's never going to get to the point for me where it like is not enjoyable because I always find love in it. It's as easy as just discovering a new artist. I'm like, oh yeah, I do love music, you know?
Yeah.
But it's not like my escape anymore. It's not this. It used to be an outlet for me when I was like anxious or whatever. But now it's like, oh, like I need to get away from like music. You know, I got to get out of the studio. I've been here every single day for like the last 14 days. Like I got to do something outside of this. And that's weird because now I have to find things in my life that like fulfill me outside of music, which I never thought I'd have to do, but I have to.
Well, and I feel so grateful for this job. Like I would like to, as a disclaimer, just like as an umbrella for this whole thing, like we work in music and that's awesome. Like at the end of the day, my worst day is I can't come up with a hook. Like that's a good problem to have. And I more or less like fuck around for the rest of the day. Like I'm biking around and playing video games, hoping it'll come.
It's the damn dream.
It's the
job.
dream. It is the dream.
Like I get to wake up and work out like when I want to. And then I get to go to the studio around like 10. It's just way better than like waking up at 7, having to be at work at like 9.
I texted you at noon or 1 yesterday because that was when I woke up.
Well,
like,
I'm not that. I'm not like that.
Yeah, but it's actually a byproduct of what you were talking about. I've had to find things like slam poetry, like solo projects, like I still do some film and sound design and screenwriting stuff. And what kept me up this week was I was learning how to do 3D modeling and I made a donut that ruined my whole sleep schedule. Doing like, Tutorial Island on Blender. But the thing is that like, I'm so grateful for this job. But when I was in college, I thought it was a binary system. I thought making it in music was a binary system. You either were paying your rent or you weren't paying your rent with making music. And I realized it's actually was trinary? There's not even a word. What's the word for it's a trinary system. You're making music as a hobby. You're making music and you're getting paid for it. And then you're making your music and you're getting paid for it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I even called you Noah. I called Noah when I was in Kentucky. It really hit me this year that we have made a decent living making music, but we haven't necessarily been able to pay our rent off of what we feel artistically aligned with. And that's a complicated area because one, you can't talk about it because everybody's like, aren't you making music? Why aren't you more grateful for it? Like, aren't you making money making music? Like, what the fuck? Like, why are you feeling so shit about it? And I'm like, because we're making music, but it's not the weird shit that we hope people like.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of complicated area.
It'd be like that.
It'd be like that.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to like do some of the things that you got to do in the studio that day.
Yeah.
It'd be like that.
That's the job.
Yeah.
It's a weird one.
It's a weird job.
It's a weird one for sure.
But it's
a good job. It's a tough job to talk about, I think.
It's a tough job to talk about. That's why we made a whole podcast about it.
That's how we're all here in a sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely weird. Like it's a weird job in the sense that like there's not really any stability as of right now, at least where I am. I kind of like the fact that I don't know where I'm going to be in a year.
Yeah.
That excites me. I like that.
That's the reason I'm here. When I was working in sound, there were opportunities where I could know what my next year would look like. And that freaked me out.
Like I don't want to be one of those people that are like, okay, my 5-year plan is this. Why? Like what? I don't want to know what I'm doing in 5 years. Like, and I remember my brother was like telling me like, what's my plan? Like, what's my 5-step plan to get like signed or whatever? And he's like, well, for me, I'm doing this to meet this person. And then I'm going to ask them to be my mentor so then I can get this job. And I'm like, cool. But like, that's not how that works here.
Yeah. And like, when you create a chain of what ifs that long, if any one of them doesn't work out, then your whole plan's shot.
But it's so much easier for them to work out in other career fields, right?
Right. That's very,
right.
For us, it's like, okay, cool. Like, I have to release this video and it's going to go viral. Well, that didn't happen. All right, now I'm going to have to release this song and it's going to go viral. Well, okay, well, damn. Okay, well, then I'm going to do this collab and it's going to go, okay, well, that didn't work.
So-and-so wants to cut my song. That'll be the thing that changes everything. Oh, we never hear back from them? Okay, cool. I guess I'll do something else.
I'm going to go ahead and like do this performance and it's going to change everything. Okay, I did the performance. I know a couple more people now. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You know?
And I one of the reasons I love this industry and love our job is because I strongly believe in this, like, the idea of like the chaos quotient, that like, you don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea who is currently listening to this podcast. I have no idea. Like, we are in this room because one friend of ours happened to know another friend of ours, and I happen to be scrolling through TikTok. Like, life works. One of the things that I said to like anybody who's starting out is, in this industry, every action has an unequal and chaotic reaction. So like, I love that, like, you don't know what, like, the thing you work the hardest on might receive the least amount of traction. And the thing that you weren't even thinking about could be the thing you wind up being like known for.
Yep.
You know, and that's, I don't know, that's really, really exciting to me, you know?
It's cool. It's cool not really knowing right now. And maybe when I get older, I'll crave more stability. But as of right now, I can handle it. Like, I think that I like it when my life kind of changes, you know, and it's not exactly stagnant.
Yeah.
And that's exciting for me. And I that's a really huge perk about doing music for a living, because you don't really know what your next year is going to look like. Sometimes you don't even know what your next half year is going to look like.
And even on a more practical thing, a thing I've been working through in therapy, just and presencing throughout the history of my life, is how much my career choices and how I've chosen to prioritize my time is a direct response of my ADD brain coming up with ways to not have to change the way it works, but to not change my lifestyle. Like music is a kind of, in a lot of ways, a career in which you can procrastinate a shit ton and then make the craziest thing in a manic burst. And now that I'm a bit more of an adult and this is really my job, I've had to actually conquer the way my brain organizes tasks and be a little bit more cutthroat so that I can actually get these tasks done to people on time. But I've been really presencing how, like, the reason I got in here in the first place is because my brain just doesn't work normal.
Hey, man,
and this has allowed me to not change my brain.
If you have ADD, you probably just do music. Go for it.
Just go.
That's the best.
We all got it. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Just making sure, because my shit don't work that way.
Well, speaking, I love like our phone calls, because it's literally like all of us just like it's like watching ping pongs in like a graphics simulator, just like all of these ping pongs just flying around. Yeah. But
boobs.
Boobs. Speaking on the sort of built-in neuroses, my father is a business coach and motivational speaker. So I grew up making goals. Like, part of my upbringing was that I had to make these plans. Not that my dad was like looming over me, like, make a plan now, but it was like sort of built in that, like, you had to know what you were doing. You had to know where you were
Nate,
at.
It's time to make a plan.
It's time to make a plan. And so what's been so nice about like our relationship in what we make is that I'm the guy who makes the month, 6 month, year, 5-year plan. And knows the one that reminds me is that you make those plans and then you throw them away.
What's that quote?
The Bob Ross quote.
Oh, it means a bit.
Make big decisions and throw them away.
And also, plans are useless. Planning is essential.
Yes, plans are useless. Planning is essential. That's how I feel. Like, I love making plans. The only thing I love more than making plans is when I have to make more plans. Like, I love when, like, I have a great plan and then a pandemic hits and I have to make an entirely new plan. I don't love that a pandemic hits. I love the feeling of having to come up with something.
And look at us artists bounce back because we got hit with the pandemic. We're like, oh, okay.
Well, and
like, all right.
And for what it's worth, like, you know, part of my plan was like, how do we deal with this live problem, that we don't have an agent, that we're not playing live in the way that we want to. Okay, we're not playing live anymore, period. I can focus on what I'm good at, which is making music, and like not having to worry about how it's like hitting and stuff. So musicians are very acclimated to switching their environment and their surrounding and their plans in the drop of a hat. So when the pandemic hit, it's nothing to adjust. How are you gonna move forward and make and create and do stuff, you know?
And that's the other thing I think has been interesting as an artist, is kind of watching in some ways it's kind of watching the rest of the world catch up to how we have been living our lives. Because that's the thing, like you said, the pandemic happens and it's no switch. We've always been rolling with the punches.
We've always never known where the next check was coming from.
We've always never known when the next check was coming from. We've always been working from home. And now all of a sudden, all these like quote unquote normal people with more straight, like, you know, structured jobs are working from home and realizing that they can kind of have control over their own schedule, or realizing that things could be a little more unpredictable in their lives. And we're all just like, first time, huh? Like,
Man.
and obviously that switch, like, there's a reason why like people go to the jobs that they want, because, you know, that switch is tough. But I've loved seeing people who have had more structured jobs really embrace the kind of work from home, like make your own rules kind of shit.
Pausing the podcast to remind you that we have a Patreon that you can subscribe to if you want to support the show.
If you're enjoying this episode, but you're thinking that you've got a burning question for an artist, or you just want to talk with us, or maybe you just want to mug with our faces, our Patreon's the way to go.
So go to patreon.com/talkinglion to subscribe.
Now back to the show. Speaking, Matt, you launched your career this year. In a sense, you've launched your career for the last couple of years, but like this year was when things were out, and you put out an insanely good EP. Rain in Pasadena. Speak on it. I want to know what the process was for making that. What's your favorite song? What is the line that stood out to you?
Now we're going to the whole moving to LA part. And
definitely,
this was kind of just, the whole thing was about moving to LA. I realized that I couldn't climb the ladder the way I wanted to in Chicago for many reasons, but I just realized that, you know, there's just limited opportunity to people who like aren't from Chicago. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, let's give LA a try. And, you know, there's more opportunity there. Yes, there's more competition, but there's also more opportunity because there's more competition. Those kind of go hand in hand, to me at least.
And competition is just community with a different, you know, costume.
Yeah. I've always hated that when people say competition, because it's like, yeah, there's limited amount of spots, but there's different ways to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like I have room for only like 5 favorite artists.
Like, well, and it's really, really cheesy, but one of the things we used to say is like, if you see a zero-sum game, add more. You know, it's like if there are limited opportunity, then find ways to create more opportunity.
Yeah.
I always the thing that's like lodged in my brain is the line from Hamilton. One of the most most beautiful takeaways from that storytelling is the world is wide enough. Like,
right.
Burr saying the thing I wish I had known is that the world was wide enough for both me and Hamilton. That we created this rivalry between ourselves and drew this division between, oh, it has to be you or me. And the thing I wish I had known from the jump was that there was always space for both of us to do our thing. And I feel that way about other artists. Like every time I see someone who like bugs me, it's like, oh, you're doing better than me. Like I wish I had what you had. I'm just like, you having what you have does not take away what I have, and me having more does not take away what you have.
I had that built in, except for with you,
yeah.
And I had to learn that. Learn that even within our own house.
Yeah,
you know. So
yeah. That's a really great way to put it. So yeah, I moved to LA, and I just kind of got to work right away, just making music. Didn't really even know what I was gonna do. Or like what was going to come of it. I just wrote, and I was like really dedicated to just making stuff all the time and getting really good at producing and all that stuff. I just started writing. Pandemic happens, you know. Even then I kind of had an idea in my head loosely. This really like exposes me for the Vic Mensa fan I am, but Vic Mensa had a song called Pasadena with Donnie Trumpet, who goes by Nico Siegel now. So him and Nico made a song on Nico's maybe not first, well, it was a very early EP, and the EP was called Pasadena. And the title track had Vic Mensa on it, and the hook was like, rain in Pasadena, like, you're gonna fall in love again. And then the hook was just rain in Pasadena. I was like, I really like that. Like, that's so cool. I love that. And I was just kind of thinking what it meant to me. And I realized that all the themes of my songs were just like, you know, about like dealing with being by myself and like not having any friends and like not anything going the way I planned it to, and like appreciating my time and myself and my space for what it was. I was like, okay, cool. So like LA was supposed to be this place where it was just supposed to be like a paradise and things were going to work out, but things aren't like that. So it's just another way of saying trouble in paradise, rain in Pasadena.
Mm.
Because Pasadena is a very peaceful place.
Right.
Outside of LA, it's really peaceful, small, and it's supposed to be just really nice. And it was just like this rainfall there because, of course, another stereotype is that it doesn't rain in LA,
Right.
which it hardly does. And yeah, so it's just about, just kind of like this shadow of rain in my paradise that was supposed to actually be like different, and one of the best songs that paints that message is I've been better, still all right.
I've been better, but I wish I were better. Trouble in paradise, look at the weather. Rain in Pasadena happens like never. I'm looking for protection, looking for shelter. Now can't you see why I feel so complacent? When the only thing that's moving is the raining. Or maybe I'm just going through the phases. Out of body, out of mind, like for ages.
I love that song.
That song is like every single line is just like, yeah, I'm kind of by myself and that sucks, but I guess it's okay. Yeah, rain in Pasadena. It's just kind of about, having to like accept this trouble, which I kind of explained in the last song, which is the song Rain in Pasadena, where it's just like taking this situation and being like, okay, cool. Like, this is where I am and this is what it is. And there's beauty. There's beauty in the struggle. There's beauty in the struggle and like beauty in like, the trouble. Everyone wants to avoid it, but like being in it is actually something that you should appreciate because that stuff is hard and it gives you everything you need to succeed. Yeah. Everything, Yeah. It sounds like I'm crying. I just have a stuffed nose.
No, I mean, but I definitely feel that when we were living in Boston, our last year, there was construction happening in the apartments. I'd wake up to the whole ground shaking with jackhammers at 7 a.m. And we would joke when we moved to LA, the streets are paved with gold, and there'll never be construction again.
And there's the construction happening right across the street.
Right across the street. And we lived here comfortably for a year, and then that happened, and I felt like I was cursed. Like I'm like, oh my God, like I'll never be able to escape this thing. And I don't have a resolution to that. Like I'm upset today about being woken up to construction, but there is something to be said about like not putting your faith in like being saved by where you're gonna move or like what you're doing. Like
one of the best things my parents have ever taught me is that you take yourself wherever you go.
Yeah.
No place solves your problems. You're gonna be right where you are because you take yourself with you. So it means that you can have all these problems anywhere else. No one's like, there's no way that a place is going to change anything. I have to bring the tenacity and the dedication and the motivation I had in Chicago. I have to still bring that here, and whatever comes my way, whatever horrible, troublesome things are coming from the music industry, I still am me. I'm not going to like, it's not going to be magically fixed. I'm not going to be a new person. I'm going to bring myself with me and I'm going to face those problems like I did before. And a really great way to do that is to write about it. Yeah. That's exactly what I did with Rain in Pasadena. I just wrote about it, Well,
that's the victory at the end of the day is like not the move, but being happy with what you brought with you on that move.
That's like, what Greener's about, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard Greener.
I've heard your whole record.
Okay, cool. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. Sorry.
We're sampling that too.
Got it. I need royalties on the burps, by the way.
That's fair. That makes sense.
Ooh, okay. So yeah, Greener is just about appreciating your grass and realizing that the grass isn't greener, right? Like your grass is greener, right? The hook is love the scenery surrounding me. It's always green. Love the scenery surrounding me. It's always green. It's always green. There's no other place I'd rather be. It's always green. It's always green. What I have here is green, and like where I am is fine, and just like coming to terms with like where you are and like the place you're in, it's totally cool. Like, going somewhere else to a new city, to a new place isn't going to fix anything. You have to appreciate what you have and what you're bringing to the table today.
Well, I think I keep saying this year, but 2021 just started,
Right.
But the last fiscal year is like a sort of good reminder of what's important. Like I feel like I mean I've been playing a lot of chess in
Chess is dope.
I love playing chess, and I sort of said this like around my birthday, but like I feel like what you learn from chess is where are your pieces and what are you doing, you know, like just understanding everything that's in front of you and being comfortable with where everything is on the board. Because in a normal situation, like with, you know, obviously not like capital H hardships, but like in the sort of life that we're living, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Like you can think about like, you could like beat yourself up over everything that you're doing and like whatever's going on, you know, or just take things in stride and like move along, because you can't avoid some of the shit parts of this industry. You can't avoid some of the shit parts of life. The best thing you could do is just know that they're coming, accept them and try to make the most of it.
And the blessing that we have as artists is that gets to be part of
our fuel,
arts, that our
what
art
we make,
gets to be a part of that healing process, and that the healing process gets to be a part of our art. Like that in and of itself is such a blessing.
It's hard. I was thinking about that the other day, how we have to go through a lot more hardships than a lot of other careers. You know, I was looking at this video of someone like, you know, Facebook is the worst, but it's like it was like a thing I saw on Twitter that someone posted on Facebook. You know how that happens on Twitter. Yeah. And someone was like this is hard work, and it was like somebody at like an oil rig or something, like doing a very physically demanding task, which is it seems like very hard work. But I feel like, you know, society puts emphasis on physical tasks a lot and respects them and values them. Like that's a full day's work. That's a good day's work. Sitting in a studio for 12 hours is a very good day's work, and it's hard. Yeah. It's hard. It's mentally straining, and doing that again and again. And also getting up and going to the studio the day after you have like a breakdown. Yeah. And like, am I going to make it? What am I doing? I don't want to do any of this. And then getting up and doing it again. How do you like, where does that come from? Like, how do we do this? Because I remember the other day I was like, oh man, like I was like freaking out. I was like, wow, this is hard. Like I'm not making it, like this and that, you know, the usual. Yeah. And then like I had to get up the next day and promote my Patreon. it was just like, like the stuff is like so mentally straining and mentally exhausting as an artist to just get up and do this task. And I don't think a lot of people really actually understand it unless they do it.
Yeah. Well, and the best case scenario of our job is that we are making trauma catchy, which means that on a regular basis, we have to interact with the thing that hurt us the most and try to make it marketable. Yeah. Man. Which is complicated.
I mean, I just wrote In Pasadena. I just wrote. Like I didn't even have a goal in mind, you know, I just wrote. It's rare for me to like go into a song like I'm going to write about this, you know? Yeah. Sometimes I just write and whatever comes out. I've been better, still all right. That's the only line it had. Like, I've been better, still all right. I like that. What's going to come of it? No idea, but I'm just going to start writing. And it was just like my inner diary, like spilling out onto the paper, and just like, oh, this is how I feel, I guess. Great.
But you're also on the level like you're writing in a sense every day, or you're doing
every day.
TikToks every day.
Every day.
Well, like when I was writing, like when we were in Boston, I wrote 12 songs in a year. When we moved here, we were writing 12 songs in a week. Like it's really like it's a whole different ballgame. Okay, so when you're writing every day, you're just spewing whatever is there. Like you don't have enough time to think about what am I writing about. You are just writing what's top of mind. And sometimes that's really challenging shit. And sometimes you're writing about like a dog, you know?
you get like, this is probably something you guys can understand, and something that I've realized recently. Writer's block is different for me now. Right. It used to be where, oh, I can't write, I guess I'm done. Yeah. But like, it's still there. Now I have to like find it, right? So like for me, when when writing's good, especially when you practice, and you just write every single day, when writing's good, you know those lines just come to you. Yeah, you don't even have to try.
Oh yeah.
Right. Doesn't it just come to you?
Right. It's like it's right there. It's right
just there.
And it's awesome.
It is great. That's an awesome feeling. You're just like, and when it's coming to you, when you try to think of lines, it's so much easier to think of those good lines. Yeah, you're just like, oh, you're just taking it, and you're just like, man, that's a good line. Like, it's easy. And now writer's block for me is less of like, I can't think of anything. It's me more having to go find it. Yeah. Like I have to like go and search for it. And that is my writer's block now. Like it takes a very long time for me to write verses with writer's block now. Like I can still write, but it's like, okay, now I have to try really hard and go find those lines because they're not coming from me. They're hiding from me. I have to like go search for them, and I have to like talk to them and be like, are you the line I want? No. Are you the line I want? No. And like, it's hard. Like that's writer's block for me now. Because I've been going through it recently, and I'm like, it takes me just hours to write a verse now because I'm just like, I have to go find these lines.
Well, and I feel like for me, it's like writer's block. I joke around that I don't experience writer's block because if I don't want to write, I don't write. Like I feel like if I need to write something, I can sit down and write because it's a technical job. Like I know, okay, time to write something. Okay, here's the assignment, or here's the artist, or here's the brief or whatever. Done. Cool. When I have a good idea and I don't have the capability to like execute it, like when I like actually think of a really good chorus and I have no idea what the verse is going to be, or like I have a really like a concept that feels really fresh and original, and then I have like no idea what the hell is happening, like that's just like that's the worst.
Yeah, that is a terrible feeling.
That's the one where you're just like, cool. See ya. Like,
you just shelf it, and sometimes it comes back and sometimes it doesn't.
The important stuff you're gonna get. You're gonna come back to. If it's good enough, you're gonna go back to it. I mean, for me, I don't release a song unless I come back to that session at least 3-4 times. Yeah, it's valid. Never
New Year's.
Yeah, I mean, I never write a whole song in a day, and it's always like for every song I release, I have to come back to it. Like I have to like force myself to do it again. Because my brain always wants to do the new thing, but like. Yeah,
the songs that stick in the back of your head, and you're always just like, I should get to that.
I should get back to that. Yeah, I should go back to do that. And that's when the good stuff happens, because now I can make new stuff, right? My second verses, I don't like my second verses to ever sound the same. So like now I'm like, okay, cool, new ears, let's make a new second verse, and then the song's new again. It's great.
Yeah,
it's
that's a great feeling.
I know that I can just like write baseline, like good stuff, like passable stuff. What's difficult for me is like what's funny is I feel like I haven't written a song in 2021, even though we've written like a couple dozen for our work.
You haven't written a capital S song.
I haven't written a song that resonates with how I'm feeling right now.
Yeah.
And that's how I define my output, is not by am I writing a song? Am I writing a song that resonates with me?
Yeah.
And that's a different thing, I think.
That's always going to be a different thing.
So the best thing about TikTok is, for me personally, is that I've never flexed my writing muscle this hard before.
Yeah.
Like my writing muscle is strong right now. Like I've never written this much in my life, ever. I think I've legit, like there was a time where I was writing every day for months because I was just making TikTok after TikTok after TikTok. And that's good. That's dope. Like, and I'm still kind of doing that. I write 5-6 days a week, every week.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm still writing all the time. And it's a cool muscle to flex. I've never been like this peak in my artistry right now. And when I was in college, it was really only about the musicality of everything and being a better musician. And the writing just kind of took a side seat. I wasn't bad at it, but I never like practiced. But like I could come up with good stuff when I was motivated.
Right.
But now I don't have to be motivated to make good stuff anymore.
Right.
And when I am motivated to make good stuff, whoo,
yeah,
it's good.
It's good stuff.
Well, when you're doing it every day, like you don't even get like the editor part of your brain isn't even allowed to be on.
Yeah.
Because you have to just make the damn thing. So you don't have enough time to like second guess yourself or be like, is this good or not? You're relying on the instinct that you're building every day.
That's actually fair.
Broadly speaking on it, like when you're doing it as a job too, like what people are looking for, how to execute it. Like they're not looking for a Grammy Award winning piece. They're looking for something that sells a product, or they're looking for something that works for whatever the brief is.
Yeah, that's a craft.
That's a craft. If you execute that, then you've done your job.
Yeah.
Like if a plumber, if anybody in service, if like a plumber, comes in and starts doing all these like weird flourishes, and you're like, dude, I just need you to like fix the pipe.
Yeah. Or I had this back at Joshua Tree when we were doing the writing camp. We're having a discussion, and the metaphor that got brought up was painting a fence. Like if you're hired to paint someone's fence and you start doing all this crazy Jackson Pollock stuff, they're gonna be like, bro, I hired you to paint like a white picket fence.
Like paint the fence.
Just put the paint on the wood. And I feel like that's how I feel sometimes with some of the production stuff. It's just like, this is not my canvas. Like this is someone's fence, and I just need to paint it white.
That's the most annoying part about producing specifically. Oh my god, I try, oh my god.
But it's a fun. I love the limitation because it's like, oh cool, like I don't have to like break my heart or like find like the most original thing that has never been said before. I can be motivational, and that's it. That's all you need.
It's not your way when you produce them for other people.
Yeah.
It's just easy to get attached to everything you produce, which is hard, but whatever. Anyways.
No,
that's a whole other discussion.
I mean,
that's a whole nother.
But you are also very much preaching to the choir. Like
Yeah.
we've felt the best and the worst of the production pipeline.
I wanted to ask about your development and or your relationship with the Oh My and the sort of. Can you talk about the Oh My and where did that come from?
Yeah, basically when I was starting rapping and like getting good at it and like figuring out who I wanted to be as an artist, I was like, okay, cool. I need an ad lib, right? Kanye has the ha, that was terrible, and then Chance has the and then everyone had something, right? To like define themselves as like, okay, I'm the rapper, and then they hear the thing. I was like, okay, cool. So I need an ad lib. And then when I was rapping, I just kind of threw ad libs at the end of my verses, right? I would just be like, yeah, I know, or oh my, or just all right, just like all these like ad libs, right? And then when I performed live, I'd just come up with ad libs that I didn't even mean to do. You know what? Or like, hit it with me one time, like. And I love Hit It With Me One Time, like, that's the best one, because I throw that right before a beat drops, and I'll show you some songs that I have with that too. One of them is in Rain in Pasadena. People don't even catch these things. It's kind of crazy to me, but yeah, I think Oh My was just the one that always stuck around. People just like that one, and I understand why. It's like clean and simple, and it's catchy in the way I say it, right? Like, oh my, like people love that shit. So like that when I was on TikTok, that's when Oh My started getting more attention. People were like, oh, I like the Oh My. Oh, like CEO of Oh My. Like, and I was like, oh, cool. People are gravitating to something. Yeah. Let's capitalize off that. Yeah. Grab it. And I was like, this is my thing. This is mine. I'm claiming it. Oh My. Right. And now people are like, okay, cool. They associate that with me. And it's not to the point where it's overpowering my artistry, which is good. Yeah. But this is something that like I can have that people can recognize as a CCB thing. Yeah. And that's something that like I realized that I wanted to establish very early on in TikTok. Something that it was mine and that people can associate with me. So when people started noticing the Oh My, I was like, great, I'm just going to use it more.
Well, I thought it was brilliant. Like I remember when like Chance would go on like Lito's projects or, do collaborations with anybody. When I would hear his I'm not going to do it, but when I would hear his ad lib, like it was exciting because if I didn't know Chance was on the song and I heard it, I'm like, oh, Chance is about to throw down. That's awesome. Yeah. But also it was just so distinctive to him and his artistry and like the brand.
It's a sonic logo. It's like a producer tag. It's like when you can craft something that it's a piece of branding and it's beautiful.
When I didn't immediately, because just scrolling through your For You, Gabe pops up, scrolling through a For You page, you don't really like put the pieces together. But when I start like really listening to you sort of more sequentially and realizing that like Oh My was your thing, I'm like, he's got every aspect of a rap of your project. Like you have, it's not just that you got a sound and a vibe, whatever. You even have like a fucking tag, which like I can't think of anybody like in the last like in this space that has that, and it's
such an obvious thing too. It's like it's just such a like of course you should come up with something that clean from a brand perspective, but it's like the fact that you kind of stumbled upon it and leaned into it, I think speaks to just your vibe as a creative and your like, but also your sharp ultimate underlying brain as like a business person. And you're like doing this thing at a very high level.
And on that note, like when you did the collaboration with Sad Alex, and like I was listening with my friend in the car, and your Oh My came in, we both lost our shit because we knew what was about to happen. Like it was the exact same experience as hearing like a Chance song or whatever. Like it was realizing, oh my God, like even before the verses started, our boy's coming through. Like he's about to like throw down the verse. And so that's just like, And, I guess the other thing we didn't talk about is that you were on Sad Alex's song.
Oh yeah. Woo! Oh yes, the power of Sad Alex and Gnash.
Sad Alex
helped me have more clout than I ever thought I would.
Sad Alex, podcast alumni, solid friend. We did Stockholm's a Ghost Town with her, and but yeah, I like she did the competition and you won because you're awesome, and the actual track is awesome because your verse is great, but also your Oh My's in there. You know.
Lord bless, yeah. That's really fortunate. I didn't think I would win because my video didn't like blow up by any means or anything. So I was just like, these are solid lyrics, you know. So let's just do it. Yeah, and then Lord bless, I won, you know.
Speaks to Alex, like she just wants the best one and not what is like blowing up, you know.
She is dope as hell. Hey Alex, if you're listening to this, you're dope as hell. She's dope freaking as hell. Dope. Like we got to hang out because we were doing content for the song, and like she's just a fucking cool person, bro.
Just a cool person.
So cool.
I met her on this podcast, and by the end of the podcast, I was like, I'm obsessed with you. We need to be friends. Like, I was just like, holy
she's
wow.
just a freaking cool person, dude. Like, and now I'm just, you know, every time she pops up on my For You page on TikTok, I'm just like, oh my God, this video is perfect. So like her personality is so amazing.
So funny.
But
she's also a not so vocal producer
and a writer. Her writing is so good.
One of the best writers.
She's also one of those people who went through writing so much music. So now everything she makes, like she doesn't have writer's block either. Like it's either good or great. Like that's what she's working in. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I love the fact that we just don't have to have writer's block. Anyways, the fun story with Alex, we were doing a thing where she would like do my verse, you know, because I did her little reharm for the verse, and then she would like sing it. And you know, some of the lyrics didn't apply to her specifically, like, you know, fair enough. So she just had to like rewrite it real quick. And she's just like, all right, I'll sing it this way. Just that quick. Just like looked at it and was like, I think I'll say this line instead. And it worked. Like that's the keen writing skills that like is awesome to me, you know, not like sitting there like, what do you think? And like obsessing over it for a long time. She was just like, yeah, I'll just change it to that. Like she just did it. And it was like, I was like, cool. Like fine by me, like dope. I love that. Like when writers can just do that, you know.
Well, it's cut from the same cloth. Like she is so technically strong because she's done it so much, but also she doesn't sit on any music. Like she put out the songs you'll probably never hear, like volumes. Yeah. So just so that she could release songs that didn't necessarily have a home or fit in a more formalized project.
Because her writing on a bad day could be someone's favorite song of all time.
Yeah.
Like when you're at that level,
that's definitely her mentality. Yeah. I was telling her we had one of these videos of us like doing a popcorn thing. I posted on TikTok and it flopped really bad. And I was like, it flopped. I'll just repost it later. And she texted me. She's like, I ain't afraid of no flop.
I love that. That's so good.
You know, me like insecure about it. And she's like,
afraid of no
she's just whatever. She just posts stuff, bro. She just puts stuff out. Like there's a level of respect for that.
Charlie Curtis Beard, are you ready for the question round?
The question round.
What's your name? Go. Too slow. You're eliminated.
Yeah, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
The first question is, what is your phone background?
It's Steven Universe.
Nice.
Nice.
I love Steven Universe so much, and this has been a huge part of my life. I wish I could have grown up with it. Not in the sense that like I'm old as shit, because I'm not. Just in the sense that like I wish I could have I wish I could have watched it when it was like on air and like airing weekly. I wish I could have grown up with it, you know, a little bit more. But Steven Universe has impacted my life in a way I never thought I would. I just got into it because I saw it on TikTok, and one of my TikTok mutuals was like did like a couple posts about Steven Universe songs, and I was like, these songs are great. Like, should I just get into it? And I was like, yeah. Watched the first couple episodes and like loved it. Didn't think anything of it. But then I kept watching, and it gets so deep. It talks about trauma, how to deal with trauma, how to discover who you are and how to heal, and how to like separate yourself from your parents and their mistakes and their decisions. It doesn't tell you how to do that, but it talks about that stuff. Yeah. It talks about really serious issues and like growing up and being your own person and being your own human, and like having it be okay to like make mistakes and feel bad, and like moving forward from that. And it's affected my life in a way that I never thought it would. I never thought I'd be this hooked to a show. It's been a really long time since I've been this into a show, like this obsessed with it, because not only the show is good, but the music's also really good, and I can't stop listening to the music. I can't stop watching the show. I've watched it 2 times all the way through in the matter of like months. It's such a good show. Sorry,
I love that. That's
it's my background. I'm gonna keep my Steven Universe backgrounds for a while. I'm gonna just keep stitching through different Steven Universe stuff. It's such a good show.
That's great.
I just watched Over the Garden Wall and Monsters University. Talk about animations that have like really like stuck with me. Like there are just I don't know. I feel like the animated medium because of the medium allows you to talk about more deep things and more like complicated things because it's animated. And
Yeah.
I love that.
Nate, have you watched Steven Universe yet?
I haven't.
Watch it.
Okay.
After you watch the finale, you're just gonna stay awake thinking about it.
I love that. I've been working my way through BoJack Horseman. I've been looking for a new show to sink my teeth into. I might give Steven Universe a try.
It's the move. It's the move.
I'm literally adding
It
it to my
starts
list.
off. It starts off as such an innocent, cute cartoon show for kids, but
Right. Well, I've heard that about She-Ra too. I've been working my way through She-Ra, and the first season's like, all right, this is fun, but I know it gets good, and like people have a really good relationship with it.
Well, that was Avatar. I was a huge Avatar: The Last Airbender fan because you're like, oh, cool, like the elements, and then you're like, cultural wars and
genocide
and trauma, and
generational trauma.
I'm like
politics
and spirituality
nationalism.
and yeah, I'm like, oh yes, I love everything about this show.
All right. Do you have a non-musical hobby?
I don't know.
You're really in it. That's a valid answer.
I don't know.
Well, we'll ask you again in a year.
Games.
Yeah.
I like playing video games.
What game are you into the most?
I'm replaying Breath of the Wild. I've clocked in over 600, almost 600 hours of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
There you go.
We're gonna play later, and I'm really excited to see what happens.
Yeah, you're gonna get your butt kicked.
I mean, that's what you think.
Anyways,
I've clocked a lifetime of that game, buddy.
I know. I've been playing since I was a child.
Okay, then we're gonna have a hard time, I think.
I like video games. Video games are fun. I like games in general. Hobbies.
I mean, video games. I would say video. When the pandemic first started, I got really, really into Overwatch, and I've just been playing it like religiously since.
Would you consider video games a hobby, Noah?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Well, then yeah. I'd go with that. Then I don't really do anything other than that, though. Music was my only hobby, so I'm currently in a state where I'm trying to figure out what things I like outside of music when I need to get away from it.
Our earlier conversation.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yep. Yeah.
Is there, on that token, is there a skill that you would like to learn?
That's a great question. I want to get better at surfing.
Whoa,
That's fun.
I like surfing. I've done it a couple times. It's really hard.
Yeah.
But I want to get better at surfing. Also not a skill, but more of like a life thing that I want. I want to get better at ASL. I learned a little bit of it in college, and I really connected with it. I love the language, and I want to get better at it and like be fluent in it. So
do you think like a future like TikTok video would be you rapping with ASL?
When I talk about ASL, everyone says to rap with it, like
Right.
every single time, without fail. You just
Okay, fine. We're
you fall
unoriginal in our
victim.
questions. All right, Charlie, I hear you.
It's the obvious
Yeah.
thing.
It's not. I've never like geared it towards music, nor do I want it to be
Yeah.
about music. I just
Fair.
like the language and want to be able to communicate with people who can't hear, or are deaf, and be able to, speak their language, or I guess sign their language.
Yeah.
It just goes to show how sort of like ingrained my brain is. Like I
Ooh,
can't.
can you monetize this?
Oh,
Can you make it part of your
monetize this?
art?
Can you make it part of your art? Can you put like incorporate into
Can it
your
go viral?
TikTok?
Let's
Can
go
it
viral.
Let's
It
go
gotta
viral.
go
Let's
It's
go
gotta
viral.
go
Yeah.
viral. Yeah, I mean, I just took it in college as an elective, and man, I just loved the deaf community in Chicago and just like going to deaf events and siding with everybody. It was super awesome. I felt a really good connection with it, and that's like one of the only things outside of music that like I felt that for. So I like to keep it separate. I would like to keep it
Yeah,
separate because
that
I think
sounds really
important.
muddling it would make me kind of lose the love
Yeah.
for it.
Very valid. The most important question.
The
of
most
the podcast.
important question. Should we do it like popcorn, like ping pong?
Wood.
Would? Oh fuck.
Fuck.
Okay, hold on.
Would.
You
Oh, fuck. Wait.
shit.
Okay, wait.
Would.
You.
Be
Uh.
pirate.
No. And here's why.
Okay.
I saw Pirates of the Caribbean as a child, and I think it was one of the sequels. And there was one where they were all cold, and the dude like accidentally pulled his toe off. And that traumatized me for life.
Yeah.
That's at World's End.
Yeah.
And I thought about it, and just my feet always being wet would annoy me so much.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
You should never listen to the song "Another New World" by Josh Ritter, because the entire song is about them going to the Arctic and freezing to death.
No, it's traumatic. I can't do it. So no, but could I be? I'd explore space though. That'd be
Ooh.
cool.
Yeah, that's a good. Yes, you're allowed. Do you have any tattoos?
Banana
Banana
on my wrist.
Is that your first?
First and only.
First
so far.
and only, little
But
banana
when
on
the
the wrist.
pandemic ends, I'm gonna get freaking tatted.
Love that.
Hey.
Freaking tatted.
Love that. Huge fan.
But I got a banana on my wrist because I went to Vietnam and they have all these like clothes that are just banana, like a lot of clothes that just have all these bananas on them. There's a certain banana fabric and it's everywhere. So to like remember the trip, I got a little banana tattooed on my wrist.
Oh,
there.
that's really cute.
Super cheap. Super nice.
What brought you to Vietnam?
Life, exploring, traveling, having fun. You know.
As it goes.
What was your first concert that you attended?
The first one I could actually remember, like for real, going to is a Big Sean concert. And I couldn't go to a lot of concerts because, you know, I was raised as a Christian. So my parents wouldn't let me, parents didn't even let me go to prom because unsaved music. Anyways.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, Leave Room for Jesus, like, too close to...
I forgot to tell you guys how about my parents' character progression and how they actually do support my music career and love me and say they're proud of me. It's crazy. But anyway,
you can speak on it now. Our podcast is non-chronological.
it's all good. It's all good. The bottom line is that remember when I was talking about how I was afraid that they wouldn't support me because I was born a Christian and we were raised pretty strict and they wouldn't support an art career. They saw me perform at my senior recital and like they've been supporting me and they saw me perform and then they started saying things like when Charlie's going to be famous. My mom calls me frequently to tell me the songs that she likes of mine. Like they are fully in support now.
That's really cute.
It's a blessing and amazing. Like it's good to have your parents support when you're doing this stuff.
That's like movie level of wholesome. I don't know. I just feel like the parents coming around to that is just such a beautiful. It's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So I went to a Big Sean thing because it was like a public performance at UNL, which is University of Nebraska Lincoln, and they had this open park, like this open campus. What's it called when you have a open field on your campus or whatever? What's it called?
We don't have a campus, so I have no idea.
Whatever. On the campus, there's like a big open field,
Like the quad.
The quad.
Quad. Thank you.
That's what
Thank
it
you.
is. Yeah, there you go.
Jesus.
We learned that from Monsters
I
University.
didn't have
this week.
I didn't have any of that. I went to school downtown Chicago, so
Right.
it was like Grant Park was my quad. So yeah, there was like a free concert for the students, and I just kind of like snuck in while I was in high school and watched. Yep.
Nice.
That's awesome.
I love that. Do you have a go-to karaoke song?
There it is.
No, but my favorite song that I've ever performed on karaoke was "Girl, When You Dance, There's a Magic That Must Be Love." That's horrible singing. Just take it slow, 'cause we got so far to go. When you feel that heat, and we gon' ride the boogie. Share that beat of love. I wanna rock with you. I wanna rock with you
Yeah.
all night. Dance you. Rock with you. Definitely. Yeah.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
Incredible. Favorite movie, favorite book, favorite TV show?
Favorite movie? I don't have a favorite movie. I think of them as music, so like they just change over time.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Super fair.
Um,
It's a hard question, but just whatever comes to mind.
It was the most recent favorite
movie. Movie. I like Marvel movies, so
So do we.
great, awesome. My favorite Marvel movie is probably Civil War, just because like,
Nice.
Oh wow.
That's a good one.
like
That's
the
an interesting one.
introduction of
a
Black
meaty one.
Panther and
Yeah.
Spider-Man and the intensity of it.
Yeah.
All TV show, Steven Universe.
Yeah.
Nice.
Saw that coming.
What about a book?
No,
That's fair. That's valid.
I'm so sorry.
That's
No,
fair.
that's an acceptable answer.
Do you have a scar with a story?
Yeah, I have a scar on my thigh, my left thigh, closer to my knee. There's this bunk bed that we had as a kid. We were kind of poor. Not obviously, but sorry. Anyways, we were poor.
Six kids, is a lot of kids.
Yeah, six kids, is a lot of kids. Not to mention my biological father left us, so we were very poor. But anyways, we had this bunk bed that had like this metal, like little thing that stuck out that was kind of sharp. And I was really young, so it's hard to remember. But I fell off the bed and it like sliced my thigh open, like badly, and I was bleeding really bad. I didn't get stitches for it. However, there's still a scar to this day.
Nice.
It's gnarly. It's very gnarly.
It's a gnarly one.
Yeah.
Charlie Curtis Beard, what are 3 thoughts you have at this very moment?
At this very moment.
I can't wait to drink some more with these guys. It's gonna be fun. Oh yeah. Number 2 is that this burrito is gonna smack.
Yes.
Burrito
Woo!
en route.
This burrito is gonna be so freaking good. And then thought number 3 is that I'm gonna kick Nate's butt in Super Smash Bros. There's nothing he can do about it. And thought number
He thinks.
4.
He thinks.
Oh,
is
this guy's got
that
4 thoughts.
This lighting is really, really cool right now. I don't know. You guys can't see it, but it's like the lights change colors. And that's really cool. Thought number 5 is back to Steven Universe, because my mind just does that. And I like Steven Universe. And I like the background about the phone. Thought number 6 is that I should probably check my phone soon, because I'm addicted, which is a problem, but I want to get better at it.
Hey, step 1 is admitting there's a problem.
Exactly.
Thought number 7.
I go to the doctor and he said I had attention deficit, high definition television. Man, this thing's huge. You could watch the game on it. Have you seen that TikTok?
Have you seen that TikTok?
That's hilarious. I didn't even know.
No, it's a TikTok. I'm performing a TikTok, but it is my favorite TikTok of
That
all
is
time.
so funny. That's such a good.
What's thought number 7? Because now we're here.
I don't remember.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you take the world record for most thoughts on the 3 thoughts in this.
Yeah, most people
very
hate that
moment.
question. You're just like, this is my time to shine.
We've never had anybody. We've had people not hit 3.
Yeah, most people are like, I'm hungry, and I'm hungry. Like, those are the 3.
Oh, I'm just talking what's on my mind right now. Oh, those pictures are really
that's-
cool.
you
That's
know,
awesome.
Actually, to get real for a second, I think that in some ways is part of the skill of being a writer, is actually learning what's on my mind right now. Like, some people don't necessarily flex that muscle. And I think that's one of the muscles you have to flex when you're writing, is like, what is actually flowing through my thoughts, and being able to put that into words is a very specific skill that I do not naturally have. I've spent the last couple of years trying to get better at that, just being able to tell you what's on my mind right now.
Well,
Me first, Nate. And on top of that, accepting the fact that not every thought is thought provoking, and just fucking, hey man, sometimes thoughts are shit, and you just gotta get through the thought.
You gotta get through the thought.
Here Comes the Thought. That's another Steven Universe song.
Ooh,
I gotta show it. The song's so good. You guys are gonna love it.
I
I'm gonna
can't
show
wait.
them so many Steven Universe songs tonight, guys.
That's
What do we
very
got
annoying.
next?
That's
Wait,
very annoying.
If you can't remember it in 3 seconds,
No,
it's
one
done.
of my favorite songs. One of my favorite songs wrote with an artist named Lizzie Land, and she asked, she asked, what is on your mind? And I'm like, I'm going to be entirely honest with you. I just read the entire Wikipedia page of Anne Boleyn, something about like motherfuckers getting beheaded in like England. And she's like, there's a song there, and we wrote it, and it's my favorite song.
That's crazy.
It's called Losing My Head.
It's called Losing My Head.
It's a great song. Great session. To ride out this adventure that we've been on.
Ride us, Noah.
I will. What are you most proud of?
Rain in Pasadena.
Hey.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with that. I'm really happy that people like it the way they do. I'm really glad it was like received well. And like by no means has it blown up, but like it's set the record for any release I've had thus far, and it is single-handedly probably some of the best music I've ever written.
Yeah.
And I'm super proud of it. Like really proud of it. Like, yeah, like really proud of it. And I'm excited for people to like listen to it when they discover me.
Yeah.
And like if people were to ask me like, what music do you have? Like in a social gathering, I'd love to play Rain in Pasadena. I'm so proud of it. It's my baby.
It's beautiful.
Have you ever thought about revisiting stuff you've done before, like with what you know now, to sort of like try to bring it to a new place?
No.
You're moving right along.
Whatever is done. Something I realized a long time ago is that, you know, when you have like a really good thought and you're like, I'm gonna save it for later when I have better resources or whatever. Nah. Your best thoughts, you need to act on them now.
Yeah.
Because you're always gonna think of better stuff.
Yeah.
I remember I used to like have like lines that I would like try to save for later. No, I'm just gonna use them. Like, it makes no sense to do that. So I'm never in the past about it. Like whatever I made in the past is done. It's there. That was my best work at the time, and that's the best I could do. And all that stuff I'm thinking of now is what I'm going to use now for my stuff now.
I'm not gonna lie to you, you're blowing my mind. I wish that I had that 5 years ago. I wish I had that a year ago. Like I'm just now getting to the point where if I have an idea, I execute it. For so long, that just has not been the case. And I think it's just I agree with you. Like, I think it's such a better way to do things because it clears the cache to have new thoughts and better thoughts,
Yeah.
rather than revisiting old thoughts just to get them done.
There's this Ed Sheeran quote that's like, if you're writing a shitty song, finish writing the shitty song so a little bit of that shitty song doesn't get in the next good song that you write.
That's awesome.
I've been really chewing on that one for the last couple months.
And yeah, you know, I'm very much, if we had had this interview 6 months earlier, I would be like, my jaw would be on the floor. I'd be like, how?
There was this one time in one of my earlier projects where I had this line, and I was like, the line came to me because I was thinking about this girl, and I was like, you know, what would I write to her if we were getting married, like in my vows? And then I was like, okay, cool. I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember the line specifically, but it was like, I live in a world where there's only me, myself, and I, but I lost myself when I found you, and you were all, and then it was like something along those lines. And I love that line so much, and I was like, I'm gonna save that for when we get married. And then I was like, wait, what? No, just put it in your music. Like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
just use that stuff right now. Like, get that done with. Yeah, anything in the past is done. It's done, and I don't think I should be spending time bettering my past when I can better my stuff currently.
Huge.
Well, I've spent the last month realizing things that I've had in my like idea column for the last 3 years, just to be like, okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to not be here anymore. Done, so I can move on. Like I am currently like 25% through just doing what I what I should have done when I had the idea 3 years ago.
Yeah, I see you feel that.
Yeah, you got a good brain, bud. You know, I mean, it's all I mean, it's all ping pong over here, but like it's a good you got a good way of looking at things. I really appreciate that. I can't wait to get more drunk
Oh boy.
with you.
All right, we got 2 more questions. You ready?
And beat you in Super Smash Bros.
We're never gonna get there, Nate.
We got 2 more questions. Can we make it?
We can make it. We can make it.
Can we?
Not if I can help it.
What is important to you?
You.
Thank you.
Wow.
Moving on. Unless you like, do you want to answer? You want to chomp into that one a bit?
No, go ahead.
Okay. What are you looking forward to?
Performing again. That's it. That's
Nice.
it. That fills me. I think people don't understand that performing is the best feeling in the entire world. Nothing can beat it. Nothing. Not one thing can beat it. Nothing. I'm trying to think of it and I can't. Performing is the single best feeling in the entire world, and that is 55 or 60% of the reason why I am an artist anyways. I love performing.
Performing is, I'm now presencing and realizing missing performing so much was the breaking point for me getting on TikTok. Like that for me, it's a cold virtual version of it, but it was less than I was doing in my daily life. And I was just like, why do I feel so like unfulfilled? It's like, cause I'm a fucking performer.
Right.
Like I was like the star of every play. Like I want to be the center of attention sometimes. So it's like, oh yeah, I love performing and I haven't been able to do it in a really long time. So I was like, oh, TikTok. Like that, it was just a way to fill that need.
No one wants to be the center of attention in a duo.
No, but it's because he's the cute one, you know? Like that's the he's the cute one of the duo.
I'll punch you in the face.
What?
I'll punch you in the
Punch
face.
me in the face and make me better looking. That's what I'm saying.
Punch
you
me
know?
in the face.
Hey.
Stop talking about yourself that way.
Oh, yes, okay. No, listen. I'm a type. No is like accessible. I'm like.
I would argue that I'm also a type. My online dating history would very much reflect scientifically that I am in fact a type.
I would say my actual history would reflect a similar thing.
We don't have to go there.
I think. Here's what I think. I think we should play Wii bowling. I think
Yeah.
I should beat you in Super Smash Bros. I think we should have more to drink. But in conclusion,
You're cute. I'm cute.
what?
You're cute.
Yeah, we're all cute.
We're all cute.
We're all cute. Yeah, we're all cute.
A lot of people tell me I'm on TikTok too, so you know.
I know that is also the fun part of TikTok. Is people
Well,
telling you you're
here's the
cute.
thing. I don't love being on TikTok. I love Noah's TikTok. I don't love being on TikTok. But the thing I miss about going to shows and about performing is talking to people and networking and stuff, which is why I've been trying to get better at like DMing people and like forming like friendships and stuff like this in this weird area and this weird time, you know?
I haven't been able to perform any of my music for the last almost 2 years.
Yeah.
I am ready. And that has nothing to do with the pandemic either.
Yeah.
Like I just didn't perform anything from 2020. I did it one time, once. I have so much oh my God, I can't wait to perform. I can't wait. It's going to be, hey, whoever's listening to this, if you're a fan of me, you made it this far.
Far.
Woo! Okay, first of all, we love you. Secondly, Mark my words when I say that. When I start performing again, it's gonna be the best show you've ever seen.
LA isn't ready for you. Like
Yeah.
straight up. Like when you start playing in LA, it's going like you need to know that it's going to be panda fucking monium.
I don't know about that. I'm just gonna have a lot of fun with it.
No, mark my words. We'll revisit this in a year and a half or whenever like we're good to wherever we're good to do shows. When people hear you, they're gonna lose their shit. With all that said, Charlie Curtis Universe Beard, it has been a pleasure to meet you. We are fans,
Wouldn't
and
the
thank you so
Universe
much.
come before the Curtis though?
Charlie Universe Curtis Beard?
Yeah, I have 2 last names.
I thought it was middle name.
No, I have 2
Oh.
last names. My middle name's Isaiah.
Whoa. Well, okay. Charlie Isaiah Universe Curtis Beard.
Nice.
It's incredible to meet you. We are fans. We're huge fans, and I look forward to this future friendship, collaboration, Smash Bros. Rivalry to come. So thank you for being here, bud.
It's not a rivalry if it's one-sided. Anyways, thanks for having me.
Oh my!
Thank you for listening to this episode of Talking Lion.
We'd like to thank Isotope, the Truffleist, and our Patreon subscriber Alan C. for their support.
If you'd like to show your support, ask our guests your questions, talk to us on Discord, and get a shout out at the end of each episode, subscribe to our Patreon over at patreon.com/talkinglion.
Thank you for listening and see you next time.